first session this morning, we were talking about digital solutions. And the thing that came out was that a lot of the digital solutions we have today are just the same old technology. We're just finding different ways to use them. But I suppose the other key thing for me was that as cool as all the technology is, it's still about the people and the knowledge that's in people's heads that we still need to be able to use in that context. So people. Second one, in the oil and gas session, it was Danielle from Guidehouse made a great point in that from her perspective in the oil and gas industry, the best implementations of industrial IoT is stuff that's using or taking away mundane work. You know, that's where you get the cost savings. That's where you get the efficiencies. And I'm a technology guy, so drones and robots and all that cool stuff is great, but they're hard. Look at taking out the mundane activities and making them more efficient. And the last one here in Graeme's session, two things jumped out to me. It was Scott mentioning about the battery swap model that we see in China, and they expecting to see that coming into Europe and North America. Not for everybody, but keep an eye on that. And it was Rick from Hitachi called out power quality. We need to figure out, watch for power quality as we connect up more and more, especially the large vehicle fleets and stuff. So in the second half, I suppose the things that stood out for me, on the session on AI, obviously there was a debate about what AI means to different people, but it was Ahmed from INREL made the point that given the complexity of our future energy systems, you know, AI in some shape or form will be the brain of our future energy systems. But Graeme Nasby made a great comment because he was talking about AI and a lot of the data we're getting. And if you're working in the transmission networks today, you know, all data is timestamped. It has to be, because that's the only way you can figure out what's going on. And he made the point that a lot of the data we're collecting today from distribution grids and other places, it isn't timestamped very well. And then how can AI do anything with that? So that's an interesting one. I hadn't thought of that. The two of the sessions this afternoon were all around cybersecurity. And it was in the first session, I suppose after lunch, if you like, it was Scott from GreyMatter had some brilliant insights. And he was talking about how, because of the supply chain hacks, how a lot of he knows clients, folks out there, and their way of getting around that is they're not doing any patches anymore. Now that's a good and a bad thing, right? So think about the implications of that. And the other thing I found fascinating was he mentioned that a lot of people now, when they're planning their response and recovery preparedness plans, they're asking, how do I go buy Bitcoin just in case I need it, right? Most procurement companies don't know how to buy Bitcoin, so they're trying to figure it out. Now, again, that's a scary thing. And the last session there from John Livingston on ransomware. How do you summarize that? That's well worth a watch. Excellent overview of how it's not just an IT problem, it's not just an OT problem, it's together, but that's well worth a watch. And then just some of the way they're approaching it and the complexity in the OT world, and where you need the skills from IT to come in and help and whatever, that was fascinating. Scary, but fascinating. So again, they're kind of the quick takeaways from sitting here listening. Again, thanks to everyone who joined. As Greg mentioned, thanks to all the sponsors, to Carolina, Lucian, and all the IIoT-World team behind the scenes. Good job, folks. That's Energy Day 2021 wrapped up. All the recordings will be available, but I saw earlier they've already sent out the date for Energy Day 2022. So they're planning ahead. So we'll see you there. Thanks a lot.